How long is this gonna take? Holy Jesus.
Alright, Kaylee's gonna explain to us how she did the bell ringer. Let's pay close attention in case anyone made a mistake. Kaylee, go ahead.
Okay, so I added 58 from 58, got 116, and then I did 180 minus 116, get 64, to get that one. Then I did 90 minus 54, get 26, to get that one, and then I did 180 minus 26, to get 154. I divided that by 2, got 72.
Okay.
You could just divide by 2 and get half the numbers.
Alexis R, tell us, do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Okay, now my question is, why were you able to just say that both of those angles were 58, and why were you able to just say divide by 2?
The lines here equal, and then
Okay, so, but that means that the segments are equal.
Ah!
What's
But if
the
the segments are equal, that means, if the segments are equal, that means also the angles are gonna be equal.
Yeah, if the two legs are congruent, then the base angles are also congruent. Alright, what questions do you have for us on the bell ringer?
kind of dangerous thing?
Alright, you put your bell ringer away. Before you do your practice test, there was a couple
No, we were
problems
not warned about this.
on yesterday's assignment that I wanted to go over. The first one was this one here that people tend to make a lot more difficult than what it was. If you know that the two sides are congruent, then you know the two angles are, and vice versa. If the two angles are congruent, then the two legs are also congruent. So if this side's 24, then this side here is also equal to 24, and then you just solve it. 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 6 is 6. Subtract 6 over, you get 3x equals 18. Divide by 3, you get x equals 6. So anytime you know something's congruent, you just set it equal to it. Like if this side's 24, that side would also equal 24. Alright, and then also, number 13 was your bell ringer. Number 14, this one here really didn't give you any type of measurements, it just had some things marked congruent. First thing I noticed was that all 3 of these are congruent, so that automatically means all 3 of these angles are congruent. And in any equilateral triangle, the angles are always going to be 60 degrees. Okay, so then this was a right angle, so that automatically made this angle 30, because 60 plus 30 is 90. And then it had these two angles marked congruent, so I do 180 minus 30, which is 150. 150 divided by 2 is 75. So these two angles are 75 degrees. Well, y is 75 degrees, so our y degrees is 75 degrees, so y must equal 75.
Wait, how'd you start that again?
Start with.
What was the first thing you did?
All 3 angles are 60 degrees,
How'd
because
you
it's
know that?
equilateral, and it's in your notes
How you
in
know that?
6.3.
Why you?
Alright, so also, something I wanted to point out, if you're finding x and y, you don't put degrees on it. You only put degrees like if it asks you what's the measure of angle 1. But if it's asking you to find x or find y, do not put degrees. Okay, so now I have y, so now I need to find x. That's talking about the side length, and this is all angles. So then I had to take into consideration that these two angles are congruent, so these two sides would be congruent. And if these two sides are congruent and those two sides are congruent, then this side and this side. But I don't know the length of this side, but I do know it's y minus 25. So that means you take y and subtract 25. Well, y is 75. So you do 75 minus 25, which is 50. So this side's 50, therefore that side was 50. So x equals 50.
Any progress, guys?
Can we watch Fox News when we're done?
Get that, Tim?
All right, number 15. See how it's equal angular? Pay attention, please. See how it's equal angular? That means it's also equilateral. That means all 3 sides are congruent. So this side's 28, that side's 28, and this side is also equal to 28. So 4y equals 28 divided by 4, y equals 7. Yes, sir.
So like when it doesn't have a number beside it, it's automatically 60. When it's a triangle, okay?
No, oh, well, on your angles, if it's equal angular and that means they're all three congruent, then it's automatically 60 degrees.
So if we make a good grade on this practice test, we have to take an actual test.
A 90 or above, you do not. Okay. Now, I need to find that angle measure here so I can find x. I don't know this, well, I don't know these two,
If we make it 89.
but see how this side's 28 and that side's also 28? Then that means these two angles here are congruent.
So it means they're 28.
The 28 is a side, not an angle. So you need to find the measure of this angle. Well, these two make a linear pair. They're supplementary, which means they add up to 180. So if this one's 60, this one would have to be 120. And then to find the measure of each of these, you do 180 minus 120, which is 60. 60 divided by 2 is 30. So this angle's 30.
30.
And this angle is equal to 30 degrees. So 2x equals 30. Divided by 2, x equals 15.
Equal angular. Oh my.
So do one thing at a time. Notice I just started with one thing and then made my way over to the other. If you try to figure it all out at once, it's going to get way too overwhelming.
What if like you can do more than one?
All right, I need you to clear everything off your desk except for a pencil and calculator.
Are we like?
No, they put that dog.
I got script today.
Rylan?
When you're finished with your test, you're going to turn it in to me and I'm going to grade it and I'm going to give it back to you. And I'm also going to give you this test analysis. You're going to fill out the test analysis. If you got it wrong, it's red. If it says minus a half, that means it's partially correct, so you color it orange. If it's all the way correct, color it green. And then you go through and add up your points for each section and then figure out your percent correct. For now, let's just say that your personal goal was 60%. And you put what you made, if you make your goal or not. If you make it 90% or above on the practice test, you can use that as your grade for your test and not take the test on Friday.
That's what I'm shooting for.
What if?
What if we make it 89.9?
Then you have to take the test.
Is it possible?
Yes, I've had someone make an 89.5.
Don't you round up? Oh,
If I was a teacher, I wouldn't even take grades. I'd just be like, eat lunch. Go back.
Okay. On your test, read directions carefully. Make sure you answer them. Some of them are asking for two things. A lot of people are only putting one answer, and that's where they're getting their points taken off. Also, on numbers 1, 2, and 3, it says classify it. If you are not sure how to spell it, or if you have like completely forgotten what the names are, you got a list of vocab terms back here, like a word bank. They're listed back here, so you can look at them and get the spelling, so you know how to spell it from back here. No talking. Keep your eyes on your own paper. When you're finished, turn it in to me.
You mean to tell me Shelly can't help me?
Is the nurse a good misogynist?
I doubt it. Haley will be right back there on that side. I'm ready you to scoot all the way up to
And
the
Miss
main
Sue?
piece. Portia, scoot back to number 17,
I need to
please.
suit on my toes.
Yeah.
Ryan, sit back here and do Miss Lexi, please. Hinton, scoot your seat back, please.
Fine.
Damon, I need you, wait, no. Hinton, you're sitting back, right?
Yep.
Very good. Sierra, I need you to sit back here in this seat. Damon, will you get your binder?
Let me look at the paper.
Oh, also, whenever you're finished with your test, you need to be working on your Chapter 6 review on Big Ideas Math until I give you back your graded test. Alexis, can I
Did
get
you
you
have
to
baby
sit your
yet?
seat up, please?
you guys.
Maddox, can I get you to turn your desk this way and come over here, please? Adam, will you scoot your seat this way, please?
No, it's
Sorry, just move that to right there. Alright, Chromebooks, binders, all of that stuff needs to be underneath your desk. Alright, you'll need to put your headphones, put those away.
Yeah, you're plugging in infrared to use those headphones.
We know you're in the CIA.
That'd be cool.
I wish.
Shelly doesn't look like me in the mafia.
What was that?
When's this test again?
Friday.
The actual test is on Friday.
So what about those?